YouTube, Kurt Curtis. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about the AEW pay-per-view Dynasty 2024. Just happened last night. It is the morning after. And before I get started breaking down each match, overall, it was a solid show. AEW never seems to disappoint with match quality on their pay-per-views especially. So, I mean, overall, it was definitely a good show. We're going to go down and break down each match. They did have the 0 Hour show, which is the free hour that's broadcast on YouTube that everyone can watch, and they try to hype up the pay-per-view so people buy it once it actually starts. We had 3 matches on the 0 Hour. First up, and I did take notes, guys, so I'm going to be checking these notes to make sure I covered everything while I was watching it, just so I didn't forget anything. First up, we had Matt Sydal versus Trent, and I don't think anyone thought Trent was going to lose this one, and Trent did end up winning. It was a solid match. These guys are both pros. They're both veterans, but the match was surprisingly short even for a 0 Hour match. It was really short, and I think the reason for that we'll talk about later, but super short match. Trent won by submission. After the match, Chuck comes in to save Matt Sydal. Trent runs away, and he tells Chuck that he has to make a decision on what side he's going to be on Wednesday for Dynamite. Very short match, but overall not bad. Next up, we have Orange Cassidy and Shibata versus Shane Taylor and Lee Moriarty. Pretty confident Orange Cassidy and Shibata are going to win this, and they did. I don't really have much to say about this. It was a fun little pre-show match. Orange wins with the Orange Punch, and he pins Lee Moriarty. Fun match. Not too long, not too short, just to get the crowd cheered up, I guess. Everyone likes to see Orange Cassidy win. And then the final match for the 0 Hour show, which was actually a pretty long match, and I figured they did this to kind of hype up the pay-per-view, make this a really good match, and then get people to buy into the pay-per-view. So that's probably why the first match was really short. Got Bullet Club Gold versus The Acclaimed and Daddy Ass. Now this one, I didn't actually know who was going to win, and this was actually to unify the Trios titles and the ROH 6-man titles. So they're combining those titles now, which I think is a good thing. They don't need 2 Trios titles, So this actually did have some high stakes. And Bullet Club Gold did actually win this. Max Caster, he hasn't been doing raps as much lately for his entrance, but this one he didn't hold back. He does this long rap, and then the music stops, and then he continues to do some rap disses when the music's even off. So it was definitely a fun match. There was a few false finishes, several false finishes. And let's see here. Yeah, it was basically to hype up the rest of the show. It was a great match. It was lots of fun. Didn't really know who was going to win, so this was a really good way to end the 0 Hour. Jay White ends up pinning Daddy Ass. I didn't think he would end up taking the pin, but, that's what happened, is what it is. Now we get to the actual main show. So we got 12 matches total on this card. If you include 0 Hour, 9 matches on the main card. And they start off with a bang. It is Pac versus Okada. You knew this was going to get crazy right away. This is for the Continental Championship. Problem with this match is you're not going to have Okada lose his first big match, especially since he just won the belt and just been to AEW. So we all know Pac's losing here, which is unfortunate, because if you didn't know who was going to win this could have been really... I mean, it was a really good match, but it would have been better if it was a little bit more unpredictable. Some notes I have here. No one sells a DDT like Pac does. Watch this guy take a DDT. It looks like his head just gets planted in the ground. He's stuck there and then falls down. I guess RVD sells a DDT really good too. But I always noticed that about him. Pac's my favorite wrestler in AEW. The guy is just crazy. He's got everything, man. He's a high flyer, but he's also strong, and he's fast and powerful. He's got the whole... He's up there with, the Kenny Omegas and Will Ospreay and all that. He's definitely up there in the top tier wrestlers. As expected, this was a great match. Great opening match. There was a few roll-ups where actually you're like, well, maybe Pac might actually win this with some false finishes. But obviously that didn't happen. At the end of the match, after Okada had left the ring, Pac kind of gets up. He gets a standing ovation. The people are really behind him. He's only been back for a little bit now. And people seem to be really glad that he's back. And people were chanting, "He's our bastard." So, I don't know. He might be turned into a face, even if he doesn't like it. People were really behind him. And obviously knew the great effort that was put into the match. Very good match. Very good opening match. Next up, we had the House of Black versus Adam Copeland, Eddie Kingston, and Mark Briscoe. This is another one that wasn't quite sure who was going to win this one. One thing, I do watch these pay-per-views with my parents. My dad especially likes AEW, so I always go to their house to watch the pay-per-views. We have a good time. The one thing I did say about this match is, like, regardless of what happens, Adam Copeland's not taking the pin, and boy was I wrong. He ended up taking the pin. House of Black wins. Malachi Black pins Adam Copeland for the victory. If House of Black was going to win, I thought, Briscoe, or I thought maybe Briscoe would take the pin. But yeah, not Edge. Adam Copeland goes for the spear. Malachi sprays him with mist and does his, like, spinning roundhouse kick of death right to his face. He's knocked out and he gets the pin. Yeah. Other thing is House of Black is just awesome. They always put on really great matches. They got the crazy good look. They're a great faction, and it's always nice to watch their matches. House of Black takes the win there. Next up, we got Willow Nightingale versus Julia Hart for the TBS Championship. I was pretty confident, wasn't 100% sure, but I was pretty confident Willow was going to win, only to set up a match with Mercedes. But then you're not going to have Mercedes lose her first match, so then what is Willow going to win the belt and then just drop it like a month or two later? But even with all that being said, we thought Willow was going to win. And this match was extremely short, like really short. Willow just, like, pancake smashes Julia just right in the ground. Just, she's done. She's out and gets the pinfall. And yeah, very short match. As kind of predicted, Mercedes comes out at the end of the match, kind of like steals the spotlight. Willow just wins the TBS Championship, and then Mercedes kind of comes out and dancing and all that, and Willow's just looking like, what the hell are you doing? And they kind of have a face-off, but they don't start fighting or anything like that. They just have a face-off. And guys, this is something I want to talk about in a separate video. I honestly think professional wrestling should have weight classes. Like, Julia Hart versus Willow, there is no way that you can make me believe that Julia can beat this. Like, the fact that this was kind of like a squash match, I actually like this, because Julia's like 100 pounds and Willow's just huge. She should just destroy her, which is basically what happened. But I'll talk about that in a different video. I actually think professional wrestling needs weight classes. Because if Julia Hart won this, it's just, I don't know. I know a lot of people like Julia, and she's doing good, especially in the House of Black and all that. But it was nice to see Willow get the win here. Super fast match, fastest match on the card. Next up, we had Kyle O'Reilly versus Roderick Strong for the International Championship. I was leaning towards Roderick Strong winning, and he did end up winning, but I wasn't 100% sure on this one. They could have gave Kyle a nice little return win here. And this match actually got a lot of time. This was a pretty long match, and it was really good. It just goes to show, like, some of these kind of mid-card guys, if you give them the opportunity, like, these guys are actually really good. There was, Roderick Strong did so many, like, backbreakers throughout this match, just tons of them. Wardlow came out at one point and looked like he was going to interfere, but he didn't interfere. Roderick Strong basically gets the win, and then Adam Cole and his crew come out. Adam Cole gets out of his wheelchair, so he's no longer hurt. And then Wardlow and Roderick Strong are in the ring. Wardlow's got his back turned, and Adam Cole just gives Wardlow this, like, death stare when he's behind him. And then when Wardlow, like, turns around, he kind of looks away like nothing happened, and then walked around, pretended like he was celebrating. So they're cooking something up there. But this was a really good match, and this surprised me. And I want to say this was top 3 matches of the night, actually. It was really good. Next up, we got Chris Jericho versus Hook for the FTW Championship. I was kind of leaning towards Hook winning this, but I also thought Jericho could get some nice heel heat if he, like, started prancing around with the FTW title. Jericho did actually win this. It was FTW Championship rules match, so it was basically like a hardcore match. There was go home Jericho chants. There was a pretty sick table spot where, like, Hook suplexed Jericho off the ring apron onto a table. Hook kicks out of 2 Judas effects, so then definitely made Hook look strong here. Jericho tells him to stay down as he has a baseball bat, and Hook flicks him off, and then Jericho just clocks him with the bat and finally gets the pin. And yeah, Jericho is now the FTW champion. Next up, we got Thunder Rosa versus Toni Storm for the women's championship match. wasn't 100% sure on this one. Toni Storm did end up winning, so I guess that makes sense. How do I say this? I like Thunder Rosa, and I don't know, maybe these two just didn't have chemistry. There was definitely not any, like, botches or anything like that, but something's just off. Like, it wasn't, like, smooth. Everything wasn't smooth. Sometimes one of them would be picking up the other one, and they're kind of, like, struggle to, like, hold them up and stuff. And I don't know, something just seemed off about the match. And I noticed that with Thunder Rosa in several matches. Maybe it's just her returning or something. But I do like her, and I know she is good. Back in the day, she had incredible matches with Britt Baker and stuff like that. But, yeah, I don't know. Something was off on this match. It was still entertaining. It was still a good match. At one point, Toni Storm pulls the ring apron up, like, into the ring. The ref turns his back to, like, fix it. And then Toni Storm low blows Thunder Rosa. And then does Storm Zero and gets the win. The Storm Zero pile driver is a great finisher. I like that move. Oh, and some point during the match, Deonna Purrazzo comes out, and her and Mariah May start fighting. So they start fighting all the way into the back. So it gets Mariah out of there. So she couldn't interfere. But yeah, Toni Storm gets the win there. Still your women's champion. Next up, we have Bryan Danielson versus Will Ospreay. This match is great. Incredible match. Match of the night for sure. I think you got this match. You got the Roger Strong and Kyle O'Reilly match, and you got the Pac and Okada match. Those were the top 3 matches, in my opinion. This match was long. It's what everyone wanted. It was what everyone expected. The crowd woke up for this one. Before the match even started, there was holy shit chants. There was AEW chants. The bell rang. They didn't even do anything yet, and the place just erupted. Everyone knew what they were in for, and we knew this was going to be great. Just so much happened in this. Like, I can't even break down certain parts of the match and all that. But it was just incredible. If you haven't seen this, you got to watch this match. However, what we do have to talk about is the injury at the end. So I'll explain what happens, and then we'll talk about it. Ospreay gets Danielson in a Tiger Driver, and he just lands like... He lands pretty bad on his neck, okay? But I've seen these guys take German suplexes that are just as bad or worse, and they're fine. And I'm like, how do these guys take these moves? But it was a nasty landing, but it wasn't something I haven't seen before. And then right after that happened, like, Danielson's legs start twitching, and his fingers start, like, twitching. And Ospreay doesn't realize what's going on. He goes to the corner. The ref's checking on Danielson. And then the ref turns outside the ring to try to tell medical what's going on. Ospreay comes and just clocks Danielson in the back of the head. And the ref's hands go like, oh, like he couldn't believe he did it. And then he counts the 3. And then Ospreay starts celebrating. And the ref, immediately after the 3 count, he's like calling in medical. And they come into the match. Ospreay, at one point after celebrating for a little bit, realizes what happens. And he's trying to like see if Danielson's okay. And yeah, it looked bad. He was like, Danielson was like, fuck. And he's like twitching on the ground. I'm like, holy shit, dude, he might actually be hurt. But like, I was worried for him. But the thing is, like, if he was actually hurt, they probably wouldn't have been filming the whole thing. They were focused in on like all the medical staff around Danielson. And also, if he was really hurt, I don't know if the ref would have let Ospreay take that last hit in the back of the head unless Danielson told him to or something like that. Because even after it happened, he looked like he was concerned about it. But, like, I don't know. This could just be a storyline. It really could. Only because the fact that the ref let him take that last hit. And the fact that they were filming the whole injury. They didn't, like... They were more focused on that than actually Ospreay, like, celebrating the win, you know, after this incredible match. So if this was a real injury, it's very unfortunate it happened after such a great match. It doesn't kill the match, but it's just like... It kind of just sucks. But if this is part of the storyline, which there's a good chance it is, especially I saw on Instagram too, like I saw a clip where Ospreay was like with medical and Bryan in the back and like trying to like bring him to the table, and at one point they're filming him, and then Bryan Danielson's like turned the camera off and all this shit. And I don't know, I don't think they would have done that if it was a real injury. Either way, incredible match. We'll see what happens with that. I know Bryan Danielson's on his last like run here. So, I mean, if it is a real injury, he might be done. if it's part of the storyline, we might be getting another match, which would be great. I don't know. We'll see. After that match, I was kind of burnt out. Not burnt out, but like, I don't know, man. It was just like, what can follow that? Nothing to really follow that. You got FTR versus the Young Bucks in a ladder match for the tag belts. Dax got busted open pretty early. And it's just hard to follow the last match. You know, they made it entertaining and stuff because it was a ladder match, so it was fun. And it's the Young Bucks and FTR. These guys are pros, but like, I just really wasn't interested in this match. Young Bucks did end up winning. I think people kind of expected that because then they can do their EVP heel thing. They're the champions and all that. And then at the end of the match, the reason they win, a guy with a devil mask comes out, pushes one of the guys from FTR, I don't remember which guy, off the ladder, and basically allows the Young Bucks to climb and get the belts. The guy, security's like wrestling this guy like he's a fan or something, and he takes off his mask, and it's Jack Perry. And I thought when this guy showed up, he was going to get booed. People cheered him. People cheered that it was him. I couldn't believe it. I thought this guy was going to be the biggest heel if he ever came back. And people were cheering. It was crazy. But, yeah, it is what it is. Young Bucks won. Fine match. It's just hard to follow Ospreay and Danielson. And then the last match of the night was Swerve Strickland versus Samoa Joe for the world title. I think everyone here was expecting Swerve to win. I think everyone here wanted Swerve to win. And that's exactly what happened. Swerve finally won the world championship. And this match was really short for a world championship match. And in my opinion, it's because Samoa Joe was in it. Look, I like Samoa Joe. He's a legend at this point, but he was good 15, 20 years ago. He's good on the mic. I'm not saying he shouldn't be in AEW, but he should not be world champion. The guy can't put on a 30-minute match, you know? If you paid attention to the triple threat match, the last pay-per-view, he was barely doing anything the whole match. It was just Hangman and Swerve carrying the match. The guy's just he's too slow right now. He shouldn't be the world champion, and I'm really glad Swerve won here. And, yeah, the match was just all right in my opinion, but the outcome is what mattered, and Swerve is your new champion. Swerve is really good. He belongs there with all the other top guys. Like, he can main event, you know. He belongs up there with like Kenny Omega, Ospreay, Danielson, Pac, all those guys. He deserves to be up there, and I'm looking forward to seeing what matches come out of this. But yeah, I know the World Championship match is going to be the last match and all that, and I don't know, what do you guys think? Like, I kind of think Danielson and Ospreay should have been the final match, but then it kind of takes away from Swerve's moment. Like, Swerve wins the title. It's better if it's at the end of the show, you know? If he wins the title and then the matches coming after that, it makes it seem like it's not as meaningful. But at the same time, it's just like the Danielson and Ospreay match probably should have main evented, but I completely understand why they always do the World Championship match at the end. And part of that is because Samoa Joe was in the match. Like, if Swerve had a different opponent, it could have been a total different story. But yeah, that is all the matches for the show. I appreciate you guys watching this. What did you think of the pay-per-view? Did you see it? Did you like it? There was no really surprises. I mean, you had Jack Perry show up, but aside from that, no really surprises. But there was good, solid matches all through the night. And yeah, I definitely enjoyed it. Thank you guys for watching. As always, until next time.
What have I become now that I've betrayed everyone I've ever loved? I've pushed them all away, and I've been a slave to the Judas in my mind. Is there something left for me to save in the wreckage of my life? My life. I'm becoming Judas in my mind.